thanks for Visit kindly introduce and basically what he said, what his introduction has totally tell us what I'm going to present. Yeah, but anyway, today the topic I'm going to present is the situ population management of a large monogamous avian species. As conservation has become one of the important role for modern zoos. I believe yesterday many speakers has been addressed this point. And these two methods, first is in situ conservation. And as a zoo, most of the zoo has become a supportive role for this kind of method because the place where the in situ conservation project conduct mostly is the outside of the zoo authority place. So it's better to be the supportive role. But however, the important thing would be the in situ conservation, where the animal and the place is all totally belong to the zoo authority. Therefore, we should try our best to manage it and to try to maximize the effort we can do. And today we are going to share one of the examples about how we manage the one endangered species and the challenge and difficulty we have occurred. Salas crane is the tallest flying bird in the world currently, and it has 3 subspecies, was it in India and Southeast Asia and Australia. And they are territorial and monogamous. And more important thing, they are monophobic, which means they look pretty much the same between male and female. Actually, I don't really know which one is male and which one is female. If anyone can see through the picture, yeah, you are really good. And eastern Salas crane is one of the subspecies and is distributed across some Southeast Asia countries. And currently, the estimated population in the wild is ranging from 500 to 1,500 only, which is pretty rare now. And it is important to Thailand because it's also one of the 15 national reserve species in Thailand according to the Wildlife Conservation Act in 1992. However, this species has been extinct from Thailand about 50 years. So Thailand has tried, Thai authority and the international organization has tried several efforts to try to bring this species back to Thailand. And the first attempt is around the late 80s. The ICF, International Plant Foundation, and the Royal Forestry Department, they tried to establish the first breeding project in Bang Phra. However, this project has been discontinued due to some subspecies issue. But a few years later, the Zoological Park Organization of Thailand and the Royal Forestry Department received some eastern Salas crane chicks from the local village. There is like their donation, and then they establish another captive breeding program, which is the first step of the captive population in ZPO. And most of the chicks during that time were received in ZPO rather than in IFD. And current population in Thailand, in ZPO, mainly is operated by 2 zoos. Was in the Nakhon Ratchasima Zoo and the Khao Kiao Open Zoo. Here's the photo was that time when this project has been started in Nakhon Ratchasima Zoo. And the majority of the population were actually housing in Nakhon Ratchasima Zoo, as ZPO designed Nakhon Ratchasima Zoo as a crane and breeding and research center. And after a few years housing, the first successful captive breeding chicks was born in 1997. And since then, the chicks they are be able to continue breed routinely for consecutive 13 years until now. And the population has gone up from the original 30 something to now is 132 individuals, which is a pretty amazing population now. And this among the number is equal around the 10 to 30% of the wild population. So the mission to the ZPO now is what we are going to do. First, we are trying to maintain the substantial stable population in captivity. Before we can help the wild, we must have the good stock like Pedigree just introduced earlier. And also, by using these, we can also raise the public awareness for the plant conservation, because we all know this kind of work cannot only done by zoo, but also the support from the public. And further, we are also hoping we can supply the chicks in terms of food quality and quantity to support the reintroduction that the newly established. I think all of you have seen the picture that Dr. Boripa has been shown yesterday. And so the question comes up, what's the quantity and quality of the population about the stock we have? How much we understand? For example, what's the composition in terms of sex ratio, even their status, or their breeding ability? How many of the sexual mature individual, or even their breeding history? These are all the question list. Moreover, we also want to know about the quality, like what Kupisi mentioned earlier, that some zoos have breeding overly, but the quality of the individual are not good. So we also want to know the gene capacity of our population, and also the genetic diversity of the current population. So in order to answer these questions, we have to try to collect all the data of each individual and their information. And most importantly, we try to verify the data. As we know, this project has been conducted nearly 15 years at this moment, and some old-time recording has some problem, but we need to fix it. And then once we verify all the information, then we use the SPARKS, Population Management 2000, and the Pedigree analysis program to conduct a further analysis. Here are some of the results. We know the current population is about 132 individuals, and nearly 80% of them were captive born. So that means the majority of this population has been created under the zoo authority. And the good thing is now, last 5 years is around 20 newborn individuals every year. And moreover, the sex ratio currently is about 1 versus 1.06. So at this moment, the sex ratio is pretty balanced. So now we look at the composition. Here is the age distribution of the whole South Australian ZPO. And from here we can see the all age class individual, the all age class individual here are the wild born one, and the most of the captive born one, they are still pretty young. So we probably have to do something to preserve those wild individuals, as they have some important value for the genetics trend. And the mortality rate in terms of our population, the first year mortality rate is around 20% of the newborn chicks. However, most of the chicks are actually die around the first month after the hatch, which means that between the hatch to the first month old, this was a critical period for Eastern South Australia if they can continue to survive or not. So, and now we are looking at the ability of the breeding for those population. First, according to the record, the youngest individual who can start to breed is around 83. It's pretty young. However, most of the individuals start to breed around 86. So we count the number of the individual who about the 86. It was around 65 individual. However, only half of this individual has ever contributed to the breeding. So it means that half of them are either can't breed or they are just have no chance to breed. And now we understand the population composition. So we are now looking at about the quality of the population. First, we've identified that they have the 15 founders for this population, and they are also the 16 potential founders for this population. And the genome has been passed to the captive born individual is around 6.34, which is even less than half of the original founder capacity. And currently, gene diversity is around 92%, which is close to the 90%. And sadly, even the projection has shown that if we don't change any breeding system at this moment, all the population, they may drop their gene diversity under 90% after 16 years. And so we are wondering what happened to the result. So here is the pedigree result here. The first line here is the wild introduced individual, and those individual has created 3 generations of the captive born individuals. However, from here we can also clearly see among this whole population, it was actually created by 3 pairs. Their own lines that coming from them. So that means, although the numbers is amazing, but their gene source is pretty limited at this moment. So we are wondering how many of them are actually come from them. And here is the founder, the contribution, which means how many, each founder contribute how many individuals in this population. And result here shows that 3 major pairs, they generate nearly half of the population. So although number is good, but quality is really questionable at this moment. So what's the problem, or why is so difficult to produce them and also have such genetic variety? It's really because of the specific of the South strain, or even it's called a large monogamous birds. First, they need a pretty big spacing. Currently, we provide them at none less than 100 square meters just for 1 pair. If they can't really pair successfully, that means we probably have to double the spacing. That means this is really the spacing consuming issue for the zoo. And moreover, there has a very difficulty for the pairing, as we know, as our experience shows that if we cannot pair them under 1 year old, it will be really, really difficult. But why we are so difficult to pair them? Because we can't really know their sex when they are young. Even when they are old, it's still very difficult to do. So in order to solve out this problem, we have tried several different kinds of efforts. First is the assisted reproductive technology, so that by using the semen collection and the AI, we may artificially increase the genetic diversity. And moreover, we also try to establish early sex identification by collecting their sound, and we are able to identify their sex while they are the little chicks. In this way, we may be able to pair them earlier. So in discussion, the current population in the CPO is able to maintain in terms of the number of individuals. And it is also able to supply some chicks for the reintroduction every year based on the production rate. However, genetics really is the issue for our population, and we need to do something to reduce this problem for both captive and the reintroduced group. And here are some our recommendations which we like to share if anyone else would like to conduct a similar project to a similar species in the future. First, try to identify the maximum capacity for the housing, and not only for now, for at least the next 3 years. And moreover, early sex identification method should be established so that you can also sort out some spacing issue. Moreover, you can possibly increase the number of pairing and the breeding ability. And we are strongly suggest that arts should be introduced, as we realize it's pretty impossible to maintain their gene diversity in a high percent without any assisted reproductive technology help. And the last, we hope in terms of husbandry, the intensive care should be provided for the chicks under 1 year, 1 month old. In this way, we are not only can make sure that more chicks survive, but those survival chicks will be help both captive and the reintroduction group, and makes this conservation project in a better way. And this is my today's presentation. Thanks very much.
Very interesting project, and I think the success is very possible.